G'day, I'm Scotty Tucker. In this video I wanted to introduce you to Messner pumps. Messner pumps are a high-end pond pump manufacturer. They're based in Germany and all of their equipment is still manufactured in Germany. They have very, very long warranties, 5 years on most pumps. Some of them actually even come with a 6-year warranty. Exceptional quality, very, very low power consumption. Very important when it comes to pond pumps because especially with, say, filtration pumps, you want to run your filter 24/7. So you want a pond pump that's reliable. It's not going to break down and cause issues with your filtration failing. And being that it needs to run 24/7, you do want a pump that's low power consumption. And that's something that the Germans are famous for. So while you're looking at high-end pricing with these pumps compared to, say, lower value, lower cost Chinese pumps, over time, when you've got a pump that will last you years and years and years and years, that brings the overall cost of lifetime, cost of that pump, very, very similar, and in most cases passes cheaper pumps that are more expensive to run in the power. So in a lot of cases, you're better off going with the quality pump that's going to last you years and years and lead to savings over the long run because of the power consumption. The other thing with these pumps is that what it says on the box, this is what the pumps do. A lot of other pump manufacturers may not be so honest in the ratings that they have or the power consumption ratings that they have, but the Germans are all tested and all do what they say they're going to do. Messner pumps come in a range. There's different models for different applications. Some are better used for fountains, like fountain nozzles or 3-tiered fancy fountains. Others are best used for filtration systems and waterfalls. And the reason for that is that the internal impellers are different, why there's different applications. When it comes to pond pumps, you generally got two sorts of camps. Ones that will process or be able to push soft solids like fish crap, leftover fish food, won't damage the pump and it'll get pushed through the other end into your filter. And then other ones made more specially for pumps that have got or applications where you need to pump the water up to a higher height, or you want more flow as in through a fountain, but you don't necessarily want to or need to be passing larger soft solid particles because they would potentially clog your fountain nozzle. When it comes to Messner's filtration range, and you could also use these for waterfalls and watercourses, these are the types of pumps where you want the ability to pass soft solids, so leftover fish food, fish crap, stuff like that you don't want polluting the pond. You actually want the pump to be able to suck that in and pick it up and move it into the filter. You also don't want that stuff clogging your pump up. It means that you've got to clean the pump out all the time. So these pumps here, the motor itself is inside this cage when it comes to the Eco X2 model, and with the M series pumps, the pump's also inside this cage, albeit a different looking one. But the cage themselves, this one I think from memory is about 6 mil and this one's about 8 mil. What that means, it will pass that size solid particle without clogging the pump or causing damage to it. And that makes these things virtually maintenance free. Like you can see these things with leaves piled all over it, but water will still get through and pump through to the other side. So they're as close to a no maintenance pump as you'll ever get. This type of pump, they don't pump to great heights because the trade-off is if you have the style impeller that will pass the solid waste, it's not this type of impeller that will go up to great heights. So for fountain pumps, they're not the ideal solution, but for your average sort of pond with a nice little waterfall or a filter, these are absolutely ideal. The Eco X2 ranges from sizes from about 4,000 litres or about 4,500 litres up to about 20,000 litres, and then the M series goes from about 20,000 litres up to 40,000 litres. So you're covering a very wide flow rate with those sorts of pumps. Exceptionally low power consumption with the filtration pumps, which is important because these are the ones that you, in most cases, want to run 24/7. Now, if your application is more like a fountain, like a fountain nozzle or 3-tiered fancy fountain type of setup, then you'd be looking at the Messner Power X2 range, and this is a range that goes from about 4,000 up to about 14,000 litres per hour. And then you have the MP series, which is 21,000 and 35,000 litres per hour. So these pumps won't pass a very large soft solid particle, Probably you're talking about 2 mil, that sort of size with the Power X2. And with the MP series, it's actually got a big, chunky, solid foam block on the inside suction line where the water gets drawn in. So you can stick with that and use that, or you can remove the pump cage and upgrade to a different type of pre-filter, such as, say, the Metala Easy Bio. But as long as you do need to have some kind of pre-filter on these types of pumps, whether it be the smaller cage or some sort of pre-filter on the front of it, just to protect the impeller. Because these are the impellers that will pump large flow rate, but more importantly at a big height, which is what you want for a fountain pump. So they're slightly different to the filter pumps. Still very, very low power consumption compared to other types of pumps like swimming pool pumps or sump pumps, that type of thing, that people wrongly use in ponds. I say wrongly because they can cost an absolute fortune to run, depending on the pump. But these ones still move a lot of water for very low power consumption. So they're a very good unit for fountains and where you want lots of water for a display. And Messner also do some ranges that you could class as almost like specialty sort of pumps or special applications, and that's this one here, which is the Tech 2 pump. This is a pump that's designed to be run outside of the pond. Now, all of the Messner pumps can be run outside of the pond, but you would need to take the pump out of the cage in order to do so. And that's effectively what they've done here. So this is the internal motor on a special cradle, which allows you to position this outside of the pond rather than just sitting the motor on another base or just sitting it down on the ground. Now, whenever you're running a pond pump outside of the pond, it's important to note that these are not like swimming pool pumps or irrigation type pumps, where if you had that up higher than water level and put a pipe in, it's able to suck water up like water through a straw. No pond pump will do that. So when it comes to running these outside of the pond, you need to actually put them down below water level so that when you have a pipe that then goes into the pond, it's gravity feeding the pump on the suction side of it. What you also have to do is on the inside of the pond, put something, some type of screen filter in order to protect the pump so that it's not sucking in large solid particles or rocks or gum nuts or whatever that would otherwise damage the impeller inside. So you do need to protect the pump with some kind of pre-filter. The E-Finity pump is relatively new. It's their newest or latest release of pond pumps. These things are fantastic because you've got a variable speed controller which connects to the pump. And what that enables you to do is just simply with the press of a button, turn down the power supply to it or reduce the power, which in turn reduces the flow rate. So if you want to have a set, exact, precise flow through your waterfall or through your filter or through your fountain, you can adjust it easily without getting valves and turning it down and then readjusting it because the valve's got a little bit clogged or whatever. You're actually just doing it with the power aspect. It's also a good advantage because most of the time, effectively all of the time, what you should be doing with a pond pump is that if you need, let's say you calculate that you need 5,000 litres going through your fountain or your filter or whatever it is, you really need to get, say, a 6,000 litre an hour pump just to give yourself a bit of safety margin and make sure that you effectively are trying to turn that down, or you've got more water than what you should, because you can always turn down or valve down a larger pump, but you can't turn up a smaller pump. So what you can do with these pumps is reduce or get the power consumption that you need precise so that there is no wastage and you don't have to go through that process of oversizing your pump. This one, for example, which is the P-Tech 18,000, an 18,000 litre an hour pump, but let's say you only needed 12,000, you still get this pump, turn it down and get the exact flow that you need without having any wastage whatsoever from a power consumption point of view. So it's a good advantage with these pumps. So similar to the Tech 2 type pumps, these can be run outside of the water or inside the water. This is the type of cage that you use inside the water when you're using it in there. You could also put this inside the pond if you're using it outside of the pond, because it's got a threaded inlet, which means that you can easily screw that onto pipework to protect the impeller. But yeah, always use something to protect the impeller. And in case you wanted to know, this pond behind me is at my house. And the pump that I choose is the Eco X2, the Messner Eco X2. And just for the same reasons that I've just outlined to you, I chose this because I don't have the time to clean a pond pump out all the time. So this is very, very low maintenance. You can see in the shot that I took in the pond that I just scrubbed off so you could see the label, and it stirred up quite a bit from the bottom and whatever. And it's just going to get dragged through the pump into the filter. You'll also see chunks of fish food in there that have stuck to it that will eventually degrade and then just fall through and go through to the filter if the fish don't eat it first. And very, very low power consumption. So Messner pumps, I love them.